Hey everybody, I'm Patty Wilson. How's everyone? I have a cold, so I'm not gonna sound normal. Normal for me. Normal for me. I'm not gonna sound it at all. I've had it all week, and I've tried to fight it, which is why I haven't been on. I sound better than I did. So I wanted to wish, first of all, everyone a happy Father's Day. So I don't know how many men are on here versus women, but to the dads, the stepdads, the big brothers, which I have a wonderful big brother. Um, my dad's gone. My grandfathers, of course, are long gone now. But just happy Father's Day. Um, my kids aren't here right now to celebrate their stepfather, but I took them out to dinner and we had a great time. And I did a little video to talk about the restaurant. They invited us. And so it was a paid endorsement, but I wouldn't lie for 1 second. So it was really good. But Chris really enjoyed it. Now he's home watching the FSU baseball game. So he's very happy about that. And I will go home after this and continue to celebrate Chris as best I can. I got up really early this morning to make him sausage gravy. And I couldn't sleep anyway because I was coughing. So it all worked out. And so he enjoyed that. Sausage gravy is really good. If you haven't had it, it's super easy to make. Even I could do it. So it was fun to do for him. He was very happy. But I just want to say hi to everybody, especially you dads. I hope you had a wonderful day. I mean, here it's like 1,000 degrees. And it rained. Like, I left church. I went to Mass this morning. Left Mass and it started pouring and I was like, yay, it's pouring. And then it stopped. Like, we didn't get any rain at my house. I don't think it's raining now at all. But my hair looks very blonde in this, which is actually my natural hair color. It's very blonde. But it was kind of windy out, so I apologize for the hair. It's so funny. People are so funny. I don't think people realize how funny they are. They comment, right? So people are just funny about your hair, or your makeup, or your clothes, or whatever. I enjoy all the comments. I don't take it personally, but I try to respond to everyone. So if you do make a comment and you're new to Patty's Playhouse, I do respond. And sometimes not right away. Like tonight, it won't be right away, but I do respond to your emails, text messages. My phone number is in the body of the notes. And people do text me. They ask me questions about real estate. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a property appraiser and a real estate broker. They've had great suggestions about how to grow Patreon and have some classes on there. I'm like, that's brilliant. I've never thought about that. So this is all new to me. I've only been doing this for, the end of, the end of the trial, Sunny? I think Sunny's on here. So was it November something when Charlie was convicted? And STS, Surviving the Survivor, had me on, which was an absolute, they haven't asked me back. It was an absolute fiasco. There is nothing that tops that. So I can only go up from there. So funny. I'm sad they were here in town. Joel, the host of Surviving the Survivor, was here in town and I missed it. And I pride myself on knowing what's going on in this town. And I missed it. And it was at the Hearth and Soul, which is a store owned by one of the Bush family, like Bush Beer. I think it's Susie Bush. She lives here in town. And that's where the mosaic was. So if you recall, we talk a lot about the Dan Markel trial and the murder. He was basically slaughtered in his driveway. He was shot twice in the head. And Wendy, the ex-wife, was at a restaurant called Mosaic when Craig Isom, the detective or investigator, shows up to take her to the police station, right? Well, that is where Joel had his book signing with his mother, and Tim Jansen was there, and it was at Hearth and Soul. It was the same suite, obviously renovated. It's a beautiful store. It's very boutique-y. And so I just think that's a little tidbit that I don't know if everyone, I'm sure Joel had to have known, right? Tim Jansen had to have told him. But I just think it's a little tidbit there. Hearth and Soul often has book signings. So it's not an unusual event to have one. And I just missed it. So now I made sure I'm on their email list in case something cool like that happens again. but I will definitely buy Joel's book. They were very nice to me. I just flubbed it. I'd never been on like a remote podcast or anything. I'm on radio, and radio, you don't see your face. You don't have to. It's very different. It's a very different experience. So in the last 7 months, I think I've learned a lot. Look in the camera. Know where to position the camera. Have the right lighting. I have lights everywhere. I'm burning up in here with all the lighting because I'm so pale. I'm so pale. But anyway, I really appreciate your time coming on today. And I just thought, how fun would it be? I try to be on every Sunday and do like a Sunday roundup, like a chat roundup. So how I work it, if you're new, which we do have new people, I'm at like, I think it's like almost 2,700 subscribers. If you do follow me and it's new, I try to, to me, it's like an AOL chat room where you're chatting amongst yourselves. I'm talking, but then I bring the comments up and we chat about the comments. So it's a little different than some do it, because I do like the interaction, because otherwise I'm just here talking to a little tiny camera. And it's just not as much fun as it is to interact with all of you. So I really appreciate that. And I was on actually a text with a subscriber today, and she was telling me that I know I'm on Reddit for our Facebook group, our town community Facebook group, which is called Living Tallahassee. And they take some of the most wild posts that we get and they share, and then they have a thread and discuss it, which I think is hilarious. But now Reddit, someone named, I believe, Archie, I pulled it up. Let me get my glasses because I can't see for anything right now. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. Let me get back to it. I am not good at the whole Reddit. Here we go. Here we go. So this is the Reddit thread about Dan Markel, which I didn't know about till Skylar told me about it. And there is a lot of information on this thread. I know they follow Fancy Fiction. Apparently they follow Patty's Playhouse, which thank you, Archie. Thank you Lady Arch for sharing. And thank you, Skylar, for letting me know. And so my name on here, I didn't know how to change it. I've been on Reddit a long time, but I rarely respond. And it's like some sad animator or something. It's called Sad Animator. I don't even know how I got that. But my lips and my cherry are on that's my logo. But it's really, they're talking about the apartment for rent. And people don't really believe that photo, which I don't really want to show, it's the boys' room, but it's not the whole room. But that photo with the time, Friday at 10:53, is on there. But it is on there. It is on that Zillow. And that property is still for rent. Still for rent. It's crazy land. So it's just funny how word spreads about a podcast or information or just how things get around, right? I think it's so funny. So anyway, Sunny, hi Sunny, how are you? I'm sure you're rested after your trip. Sunny had the pleasure of going to CrimeCon. I saw the tickets are available now, going CrimeCon in Denver, which I'm kind of not thinking that's me. I just can't imagine going to Denver on a flight, although people have been very nice and invited me to stay with them. I have to think about it a little bit. But I think if I get tickets, I need to get tickets soon because they're going to be gone. And I'm not one to do just like standard tickets. I have to do bougie. I don't want to stand in line. I don't want to stand in line with everybody. I just want to get chop. So I know Sunny said she doesn't go past past the Mississippi. So I think it's funny. But I wish they streamed like a lot of the times I'm a realtor. They'll stream conferences and stuff. So hey Lolly, hi Francis. Love that name. One of my favorite names. Skylar, thank you again for cueing me into the Reddit thread. It's not hilarious that, there's a Dan Markel thread. There's a hilarious that I'm even included in any of that. So I really do appreciate any shares that anyone has. I was telling Skylar on the phone, texting, like, if I sat and thought about it, the whole insanity of me who's such an introvert. It's so hard. I mean, I sit here and I do like my times to start these videos is like 5 minutes after the half hour or the hour. So it's like 4:35 because I know for those 5 minutes, I have to steel myself to click go live. It's so hard. So hard. I know people don't think about it, but it really is hard. So that's why I do it that way. But I really do appreciate anyone giving me a good kick in the butt saying, Patty, just go ahead and do it. So thank you, Skylar, very much. So hi, Joan. Hi, Skylar. Hi, True Crime. It's so Romper Broom. Mr. C, how are you? How are you? How is everybody? Tennis, how are you? All the cool kids, right? It's so nice. It's so nice that we have our own little group. I know I know obviously the bigger channels do, but I don't care about any of that. I don't care about being big. I don't care about any of it. I really don't. I just want, if I make somebody laugh during the day, that makes my absolute life. I just love it so much, making people laugh. But if I make people think differently about a crime or how to search for information, then that means a lot to me too. I helped another subscriber look for someone recently, legally, all of it's legal, and I found them. There were 2 people, and it was really important for her husband, and I found them, and she sent me pictures when they met up. So that was really nice because not everyone has the gift of being able to find people or the databases or whatever it is. So it was really nice to have that follow through, that what I did made someone's day. So I really appreciate her too. But she knows that. And yes, biscuits and sausage gravy. I actually put it over English muffins because that's what I had. So it's all good. Like, I don't really care what it's on. I don't need a bread product with sausage gravy. I'll just eat the sausage gravy. Hello, Mr. C. Hello, Anya. How are you? You do have Father's Day in September in Australia? That's interesting. It's like the Canadians and the Brits do Mother's Day, I think, in April? I think it's before. Does Chris cook? Absolutely not. No. But I have his mother's Greek cook. I have her recipes, but he does not cook. No. And you don't really want it. He does the dishes, which, praise the Lord, I hate doing dishes. Hate it. So he does it. He's very good about putting the dishes away, and he's very good about doing the dishes. Rebecca. How are you, Rebecca? Jan. Oh, thank you very much. You're very kind. I just got this recently at our Dillard's. It's I think it's Vince Camuto. No, it's not. It's their investments. It's Dillard's line, and it's so light. And I needed, to cover my arms. I actually have weights. I'm working on my arms because they're so bulky. And I have weights under my desk where I practice, but so far I haven't lost an inch on the circumference of the arm. But I appreciate the compliment on the green. I do enjoy wearing green. It's one of my favorite colors. Thank you very much, Kathy. Did you see where Sliders is closing? Yeah, the owner was in a jury pool. Yes, he was. Drew McLeod was the owner of Sliders. And he also, he's owned a bunch of restaurants. Didn't he own True Crime? Didn't he own Cafe Cabernet? Which I love. That's where I met my husband, was Cafe. Well, actually, I met him at Fridays. Met him there, but our first date was Cafe Cabernet. I liked it. Now, nothing's ever been able to last on that Monroe spot. Listening while walking. I do not know how you walk in this heat, Sonny. Bless your heart. I really don't. Did I bring my soda? Yes. I have my soda. This is from Chow Wan, where we had our Father's Day lunch. And then I also have a soda from Gate. So, yes, I have my Diet Coke. Hi, Murder. How are you? Is that wrong that I call you Murder? But that's what I call you. I know you're Murder by Maestro. Love your stuff very much. Lolly says she often disagrees with Tim Jansen, but it's interesting to hear his POV. It is. And I've disclosed he was my attorney. Actually, Elin in his office was my attorney. So keep talking, Patty. I intended to, so thank you. No, AOL chat room tennis is not a thing, But that's what I feel like I'm doing. I loved AOL chat room. I mean, it didn't help my first marriage, that's for sure. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I flirted. I loved it. I loved it. But I wasn't really into my first marriage to begin with, so that's why. It does not exist. It does not exist. But I think it kind of exists here, and our thread is about murder and true crime. I am doing well, Ashley. Thank you very much. Judy says, hi, Patty. I watched the Susan Morales trial. The prosecutor has my hairstyle. She's a ponytail on top. Mine is classier. Well, thank you very much. Mine is not... I just got... You would never know it because of the humidity and wind today, but I got a perm this week, which actually stuck. I had to be under a hairdryer for like a half hour. And so that perm, it's actually curly. Oh, well, thank you, Skylar. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the head up. And I appreciate people, like I said, sharing anything that you say is so nice. I don't think people know. Well, I didn't know. I knew how hard it was to grow something from scratch because of the Facebook groups that I started. I mean, that's been 6 years. But it's patience. So when I first started living in Tallahassee, it was me and my business partner, Scott. And I can count the number of posts he makes, like, on one hand. It's very rare. He'll comment once in a while, but very rare. So then we get a few. You know, you get a couple, and then a couple, and then a couple. And then all of a sudden I got 500. I was like, I'm fine with 500. This never needs to grow. 500 is beautiful. I can manage this myself. Well, then it was 5,000, and I could manage it myself. And I did. I didn't have any other admin for a very long time. And then all of a sudden... somebody, I'll tell you the truth, it was in a Trader Joe's parking lot. And some guy, and he posted anonymously, but I know who he is because I could see the names. Some guy and some girl were having sex in the parking lot at Trader Joe's here in Tallahassee. And the guy gets on and he's complaining about it. And he's like, would you guys just go get a room and stop having sex in your car every Tuesday? Well, it became a thing. Like, it was a thing. Like, Greg Tish, who's a man about town here in Tallahassee, he's our morning show host on Real Talk 93, where I host our show, and with Scott. And he's been a wedding DJ. Like, he's been on radio a long time. So he's like, we're going to have an event. Like, they had an event. They had people meet up on Tuesday at this Trader Joe parking lot last spring, I think it was. And then this group just blew up. I mean, just blew up. Thousands were showing up at the Trader Joe parking lot waiting for this girl to give this guy a blowjob or whatever she was doing. And it was just absolutely hilarious. But that's why the community grew. But I think otherwise people don't realize. I think they get to a certain point and then they stop. And they stop the growth, or they stop, even in real estate, they'll stop sales. That's why the average realtor only lasts 2 years, because it takes so long to grow your client list. We're selling homes that we don't own. We're selling a product we don't own. We can't control for the most part. We don't get to control the financing, the condition. We just have to use our own skill set to persuade, and it's very hard to do. And people stop. They give it 2 years and they're out. They work for us for 2 years, they're out. I mean, it's just the average, and it's very hard for them to believe you that at some point, if you show up, it will grow. And Living in Tallahassee is a great example of that. Now we're 61,000 people in 6 years because you just don't know. And now this little channel is the same thing. And I don't, it's great if it grows, but it's not my goal. It's not my goal. Like, I want this many viewers, because with that, what I've learned in growth in a group or on any social media, come A, trolls, B, people's opinion of you changes whether you are a different person or not. Their POV of you is absolutely going to change. I'm dealing with that now with Living Tallahassee, because I get called names to my face. It makes me laugh. In public. because I don't approve every post, right? We have 8 other admin. We don't approve every post that gets through. But people will come up to me in public, to my face, and call me out. So those kind of things, it makes you a little nervous to walk around town. And you're like, mm. I mean, I even talked to my priest about it. Like, I was like, what should my reaction be? Should my reaction to these people who are literally in my face screaming at me, should I have a reaction? Should I not have a reaction? And because I'm naturally an emotional, high energy Irish person who will throw a cuss word at you pretty quickly, but I'm also a business person, I was like, priest, how do I respond to that? And I think it's all growth. And I don't think some people are ready for growth. Some people aren't. But I really just enjoy this time together. So I like to talk about crime. I know some people like do some crime and then they do other things. You know, they'll do a book club. Katie Kool-Lady's very good at that. I'm not. I'm just not a book club person. I don't read the book. I'll own it. Like, I'll buy Joel's book to be supportive, but unless it's on Audible, it's likely I'm never listening to it or reading it. I mean, it's just not happening. But it's not that I don't want to. It's just I have the attention span of a peanut. It just isn't happening anymore. So, let me go back to this. Let's see, she was pathetic. Actually, Judy Gillespie, when a lawyer tries to disparage a murder victim, 16 years old, says she was into drugs, made you nuts. Oh, I'm so sorry. Fly into Denver. I mean, I don't fly. I'd have to fly to Denver. I don't fly. It's because I was watching all these people try to get to CrimeCon or get to watch FSU at Omaha and miss their flights for no reason. There's no weather. There's nothing. It's just lack of responsibility and accountability amongst the airlines. So that's my challenge with it. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you? I want to see Donna's trial in person. July 22nd is their next case management hearing. So I'll be at that. So I will be at that. Am I going to be covering Donna's trial on a daily basis? Yes, I will be covering her trial. I will intend to be there. I am working on getting a media pass through the radio station, which would be lush to get the media pass, just so I could be up front. And we'll see from there. But I asked, that's funny, Norma. She says, no CrimeCon, I got to save myself for the September trial. But I have asked the radio station to apply for a media pass. I don't know if I'll get it, but it would be interesting. But yeah, I'll be on live before the trial. I'll come on during our lunch breaks and I'll come on after. I don't have access to the feed. I'm sorry, I have a cough. I don't have access to the feed like Deep Dive does. I don't have any of that stuff. So it'll just be me and my notes. Because they're not going to let us have iPads or laptops or anything, which I'm very grateful for. I hope he doesn't let people chew. The Daybell trial a little bit drained you. The Daybell Cox thing is my total obsession. Will probably many trials in the decade to come. Yeah. It's a lot. Well, thank you, Skylar, for setting your alarm. I watched the Trooping of the Color yesterday. So good to see Catherine. I didn't watch it when it was airing the first time. I did watch it afterwards. I'm a big fan of British TV and the Brits and Catherine and the whole thing. I just love her. I just love how Charlotte yanks her little brother into place. I like it. Debbie says, I was talking about you in a podcast last week, told them to subscribe. So she did. Got to get out and live a little. Thank you so much. Very much. Thank you. Hi, Patty. I'm surprised to hear you get nervous. It sure doesn't show. Man, Matilda, you have no idea. I spend so much time. Like, if I'm invited to an event, I get there like 25 minutes early. And I sit in my truck. I have a Ram truck. And it's comfortable. Probably too comfortable. And I sit there and I have to, like, meditate myself going into it. Matilda, I have that problem going to church. Like, I So I walk into this little chapel today, and I like to be there like at least 10 minutes early. I'm a backseat Catholic. I want to sit in the back. So I get there, and I'm early, man, and everyone's already in the back seat. I have a cough. I don't want to sit near people. I wanted to be in the back row. I think there's only like 10 or 11 rows. It's a very small chapel. So if you're coughing, people notice. If you're in late, people notice. I don't want to be noticed, even though I got the hair. I just want to sit in the back. And then I sat there. I was like, ugh. I literally rolled my eyes. I walk in and I roll my eyes. I turn around and priest is in my spot. So he got there early, and I'm sure he was meditating and praying beforehand. And then he got up to go back and put his vestments on, and I went and took a seat because I was like, I'm not sitting in the middle here with a cough. I just want to cover my face and go away. No, I don't like it at all. I don't like being it. I like I'm with Scott, my business partner. He is beautiful to look at, and the whole thing, like he is very charismatic, and he is also an extrovert. So it's natural for him to, and I just sit back and watch. And I like to observe. I'm a big observer. Jan says, I'm getting thinner. I can notice it in my face. It's crazy. Do you know the only thing I've done, Jan, is add protein? So my daughter-in-law's name's Brandy, which I always say in the end from the song, She's a Fine Girl, What a Good Wife She Will Be, because it's my favorite song. And she was going to be she already was riding in my son's semi. You know, they were together, going all over the country, delivering in a semi-truck. And she's like, Patty, she calls me Patty, I want to get my license. I'm like, that's fabulous. So they were going to be a team. Like, she would drive during one portion of the day. He would drive in the other portion of the day. And she's very short. That bless her heart. I don't think she cuts 5 foot. I don't think she's very short. So she was really overweight. And so she goes to take the trucking CDL, I guess, CDL physical. And she's pre-diabetic or diabetic. So they're like, you can't get your CDL license. So they put her on some sort of diet, some diabetic diet. And they were doing macros and micros. And I was a nurse, but I was not a nutritionist, obviously. And I was like, James, my son, James. I was like, James, could you please explain what this means? Counting your macros and whatever. So he goes to this thing, and I hear about 30% of it. But what I did hear was protein. And I was like, oh, that's true. So if you have enough protein in your diet, you will naturally burn more calories. And I was like, I wonder, this is where it gets funny. I was like, I wonder where my protein count should be. It was like 132 grams of protein because I'm sedentary. I'm still overweight. And so it was 132 grams of protein. And I was like, really? That is a lot of protein. So I've been drinking those Premier protein shakes. I put it in coffee. I drink 3 throughout the day. And that is the change. That is the only change I've had. So it's 90 grams of protein. And I have eggs, which I love. But I have my eggs. So I'm probably somewhere around 100 grams of protein each and every day. And now I have one chin. And my new heart medication. So the doctor had to put me on a different heart medication. So that's helped my circulatory system, obviously, and help not retain fluid. And that's it. That's the only difference. Everything else, I still eat my bigger meal in the afternoon, and I don't eat after, say, 7 o'clock, and that's it. Pretty cool, huh? Add protein. I had no idea. Because I'm not a fan of keto. I'm not a fan of any of where you just exclude so much of a diet. But that's really helped, is just adding those drinks to my diet. It was very good. I hear you, Patty. Love the idea of crime cut over all those people is my idea of an introvert circle of hell. Right? So when Sunny told me there was like 9,000 people there, or 90, I forget the number now. It was more than I thought. I don't mind hand washing. I just mind putting away. It's my issue. If I lived alone again, my dishes would come out of the dishwasher and go back in the dishwasher. Chicken fried chicken and sausage gravy, Cracker Barrel, 4,000 calories. My God. Yes, we still have a Belk. We have a Belk store. It's at the Tallahassee Mall. And I've never been, I have to say. My first time in Belk, Belk, was last week when I went to Thomasville with a friend. Thomasville, Georgia, which is only 12 miles up the road. And they have a Belk. And I walked in, I'd never been in one. No man. Well, I hope not anyway. That would be ridiculous. Talking about heat. Oh my God, this heat wave is coming to Orlando. Oh, it is? Oh my goodness. That's horrible. Wendy now has a diving plank to try and escape to Mexico. You loved Cafe Cabernet. Got engaged at Ricardo's, which is still open, at the old location on Capitol Circle before they moved to Benton Hills. Ricardo's is your favorite Italian restaurant. I've only been once for lunch. I have been following that Karen Reed trial, Robin, and we were going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about it. It's on my little thumbnail. Karen Reed, Brooks Houck, which is Crystal Rogers' case, and then, of course, Wendy. Wendy. Hello, Mert from Mexico. I have a good friend who lives in Mexico. He's an expat. Yep. Top cat. Did you see those knock knees on Wendy? Fancy Fiction posted a pic of Harvey and Wendy in Whole Foods and talk about how vile they are, which I loved. I think, first of all, Fancy is brilliant. I follow everything she does. She's caustic, but she gets away with it. Like, she's just so funny. She's a very funny girl. And her graphics are funny, like the whole thing. But you know Wendy's following this stuff. You know she is. There's no way she's not following all of this. It has to be the most heated podcast chats in history I've watched are Karen Reed and Robin Ruggiero. I cannot wait until the trial's over. Well, I think everyone knows. I think Karen Reed is guilty. And even if she's found innocent, I still think she's guilty. I'm fine with the outcome either way. It's not my circus. It's the jury's circus. But her attitude is not one of humility. I mean, she has the humility of my shoe. I mean, she doesn't have any humility. None. I've never seen any. It's a circus for no reason. It's a circus. You're innocent. Sit there and be innocent. Get on the stand and do it. But that judge has zero control over that courtroom. The way that attorney who looks like Botox hit the fan looks at some of those witnesses. How is he allowed to do that? I just don't know how that attorney, the defense attorney with the really shiny forehead, is allowed to talk to people like that or look at them. I just don't know. Oh, Lolly just unpacked your Trader Joe. Well, I'm just saying. Patty, are you wondering why it's taken so long for Wendy and Company to be taken down? Carl Steinbeck has offered innumerable reasons that it should have been wrapped up. The only reason I believe that Wendy has not been arrested, well, I think there's a couple reasons. Right now, she's under use immunity. And use immunity means whatever she says in the courtroom, as long as it's truthful, which we have debated that, none of us believe it is truthful, she gets immunity. So I think Georgia's playing a game with her on that. I think she knows she's being played. I'm sorry to rub my nose. I think she knows a game is being played with her, and I think she knows her time is almost up. I think the other thing is that Leon County, got really burnt when they put Catherine and Siegfried on, I call him Siegfried, Magbanua and Siegfried on this same trial. I think they got burned by that when there was a mistrial. I don't think having Wendy incarcerated at the same time as her mother and no one watching the kids and all of that coming out is really beneficial to the state or the county. I do not believe that. I think they need to do it piecemeal. I think they're going to talk. Let's pretend Wendy's arrested. The first thing they'll do is now the boys are orphaned. The boys are orphaned. The boys are orphaned. The boys are orphaned. They don't have their mother. They have an elderly grandmother. They have elderly grandfathers. They're orphaned, orphaned, orphaned. And that's all you're going to hear. And in Leon County, I can't speak for any other county in the state, but in Leon County, that is impactful. And that is the reason, in my opinion, and I'm trying to get this gentleman that I know to come on who came to a mutual friend and was actually on Catherine Magbanua's trial. He was a juror. I know it's because they were married, or they had been together, not married, but been together, been partners, and those little kids. Even though the Markel boys are in their early teens, 13 and 14, I think they are, maybe a little older. Yeah, they were 3 or 4 when their dad died, so they would be 13, 14, maybe 15 soon. They're not gonna. It's gonna turn on them. The media side of it will turn on them, and I think that's the reason. I could be wrong, but that's my thinking with Carl's. I don't disagree that they could try her, and I think if they were in a county like Duval or Bay or Madison or any of the other surrounding counties, it would be a no. It would be a slam dunk. But I think here it's not a slam dunk on that side of it because the media and just trying to disturb the jury pool with mother and daughter and all of that nonsense. You wish you could see the inside of Georgia's brain and learn what she's thinking about. I think we don't know what they're thinking. I think it would be really, really pathetic if they don't even arrest Wendy, knowing that she has not told the truth. She hasn't told the truth about Trescott. She hasn't told the truth. She hasn't told the truth about why she didn't let Jeffrey Lacoste in her house. She hasn't told the truth about why she dated Jeffrey Lacoste. She hasn't told the truth about the $5,000 being paid to the hit crew. She hasn't told the truth about maybe being on Trescott. Louis Rivera saw her walking on Trescott. And he would have only had a picture. He cannot read English. I don't even know if he can read Spanish, but he definitely cannot read English. So he only had a photo. And I think all of that is just, it just adds up. It just adds up. Judy says, the funniest thing you've ever heard in a long time. Who would have thought Trader Joe's? I know, right? And the guy, it was a man who posted it. And it was anonymously posted on Living Tallahassee. And of course, it was reported. I was like, I am never taking this post down. I am never taking that post down. We had events about it. People brought breakfast. Trader Joe's loved it. They had so much business because this woman was cheating on her husband in the parking lot of Trader Joe's. And the group grew because of that. Rabbit. Oh, okay, that does it. I want names. I'll come down there and be extremely nice to them. Well, thank you. I really do try to be nice to everyone. But it has been we're talking what we were saying previously. Where people, I was like, would you say that to my face? And they're like, yeah, we will. We will come to your face. We will come at you, bro. And I'm like, I have to moderate a group. You can't just, freedom of speech is one thing, but that's against the government. That's taking up grievances against the government. I don't own the Facebook group. Facebook owns the Facebook group, and there's rules that they require. So all I'm doing is forcing their rules, plus trying to moderate a group and promote business and promote small business here in Tallahassee. That's it. But people are like, we need to know your intentions. To my face, in my park, to my face. You need to know my intention. My intention is to go to my truck without having a fit right in front of you. My intention is to not feel unsafe around you while you are cornering me in a parking lot. That would be my thing. Should I call the police? it's just people are so, as the priest said, crass. He's like, because I did go to him, and he's like, people are crass, and they have no shame. And he talked about his own negativity he gets, and I was like, well, I'll just use the word. I always say things like it just comes to me all of a sudden, intense. So now if somebody new comes up to me after I spoke with the priest and said, "Ma, you're intense." Now, isn't that enough to set someone? That probably will set them off more than relax. But, like, you're intense. This is an intense reaction to nonsense, to Facebook. We have one lady, she owns a business. She owns a dry cleaning company here in town. And she got mad because I posted about women pumping gas and being on their phone and taking up the time. You know, they're on the phone doing whatever conversation, and they're not putting the card in, you know, they're not moving it along. Move it along. And she got very upset. Like I was anti-woman or something. And I was like, no, I'm focus on the task at hand. Let's get this line moving. And she was, fierce. I'm like, I need a bodyguard. Like, this is crazy. And she didn't back down. She did not back down. When I was like, you own a business. You are saying things that will be on here forever because I'll make sure of it. I will screenshot it forever. And you're still just not, the intensity of a Facebook post or a YouTube post is crazy to me. It's crazy how people behave, but I can only control my reaction, and that's where the priest helped me. He did help me with that. Anita says, I just want to say I followed you from the very first YouTube live. Oh, I don't ever want to go back and watch that. Please don't. I saw you on STS and loved it. That said, I've watched the Karen retrial religiously, even the pretrial hearings. And, Anita, do you think she is innocent or guilty? What do you think? Luckily, I read phonetics, Judy. Luckily, I read phonetics. So, back to Anita. Guilty or innocent on the Karen Reed? Which is it? I want to go back to it. Tell me. I'm going to miss it. There's so many comments. You think she's guilty? Hey, A, Legal Focus. How are you? So happy to see you. I hope you're doing okay. I have a bit of a cold, so I apologize for all my... It's not even like snot or mucus. It's just cold. We can absolutely disagree, but supporting Proctor's text is insulting. The bits of Karen's car she left on the scene and bits of John left on her car. I think this whole thing is going to be fascinating when the jury's out. I think, let's take Karen Reed, an example of Wendy. I think there is going to be, Wendy's going to have a harder time getting Wendy lovers to protest outside of Leon County Courthouse, the way Karen Reed has been able to do it. I think a lot of this nonsense around Karen Reed is the judge. And I don't think Stephen Everett, the judge, the amazing judge, frankly, will allow that nonsense here in this county. I mean, I guarantee you. It just won't happen. So one of our agents was in the jury pool this past week, and 2 weeks ago. And it wasn't Judge Everett. It was a female judge, but it was very much the same. 24 people, questions answered, keep it moving, go, go, go. And I was like, I like it. I like it. I like it. And I just think from watching so many trials, especially the last 7 months, there are very few judges. I don't know if it's the TV that freaks them out, creeps them out, or they're just afraid to tell people no. Need to tell these people no. Like, that attorney for Karen Reed is not helping himself or his client when he's staring down the witnesses. It's just not happening. It just isn't. And I haven't watched every single bit of the Karen Reed trial, so I don't have that much of an opinion. I just have an opinion about her attitude, and her attorney's attitude is just as bad. He does command respect. Judge Everett is like, dude, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The difference between what we see in judges locally in Leon County versus outside of that. I mean, he won't, in Leon County and in the state of Florida, it is permitted for jurors to ask the witnesses questions. And if you watch the previous trials in the J.M. Markell murder, there have been times Hankinson, who has since passed away, had questions read, and Judge Everett's like, no, it's too much risk of a mistrial. He's not even doing it. He's like, keep it moving. Ask your questions, move on. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it for the witnesses. I appreciate it for the jury. And I just don't see that happening in Karen Read. I see a fiasco. And it's no real different than Daybell. That whole thing was bizarre. I mean, just the whole thing was bizarre. It's just too much. But so that's my thing with, I don't watch all of Karen Read. I've watched enough of it to think she is so work the media. And that's what makes me nervous. I don't think Wendy has the charm, if you can call Karen Read charming. But I don't see her charming. I think I see through her nonsense. But Wendy really doesn't have it. And the photo I used in today's thumbnail was when she was looking over at the jury, trying to charm the jury, didn't see it, and then looked away like, oh shit. And that's exactly what should have happened. So, but I think Wendy's thing is, I have some sources who living down in Miami. I'm going to Miami. I'm going to go to Miami and see everything. And see the Orange Theory, which I pointed out. Someone said it's closed right now. I don't know that it's closed, but I'm going to drive to Miami because I'm driving, because I want my own vehicle. And I'm going to see all those places. I'm going to go see the Continuum. I'm going to go see the Icon. I'm going to go see the South Point Elementary School. I'm going to go see all of it. So I'm going down, I think, the week after July 4th. Working the media can backfire, like in Tory Lanez. He'd probably end up going more messing around with Astros. I just think Karen Read is not O.J. Simpson, and Wendy is certainly not O.J. Simpson. I think you have to be really careful about how you handle or attempt to handle the media, because in our case, in Charlie's case, I think Rashbaum thought he was handling the media. He was like, hey, fancy fiction, you do such a great job, because she was in the gallery. And Rashbaum was going up and just stroking. I don't know if anyone saw it. Sonny saw it. Stroking all the podcasters. Stroking John. Oh, you guys, you do such an amazing job keeping this trial focused. You're so amazing. We could have lunch. We'll have lunch. I want to have lunch with you. Why would I want to have lunch with you? That's nonsense. I don't. If somebody wants a free lunch from what's fancy calling Cash Bomb now, have at it. I'm not. But I think it's a tipping point when you see, we obviously did it in front of the jury, but you see him just coming around and trying to be man, you did such a great job. Now, you both know Cash Bomb really doesn't think that. I'm sure he's a very nice person. He looks very amenable. He looks very, very kind to people. He's very, unlike Magbanua's attorneys, he's very respectful. I was in an elevator with him. He's very respectful. Opened the door. Very nice. All of that good. He's a human being. I'm a human being. I love it. Nice. But I don't want to be entertained by you. I don't want you entertaining me. I find it reprehensible that you would represent two members of the same family up for the same murder. It may be legal. It may be have a nuance of ethics. I just don't like it. But I think it's really, really, really interesting at how the media is being worked with Karen Read. Very interesting to me. Let's see if we can go back. Hi, John. How are you? I said hi, Debbie, Claire. He does run. Judge Everett, I mean, he's not watching this nonsense. He is not watching all of us YouTubers, but he is aware of them. And he says this is the new media. And I think he's He's honestly trying to create a balance in the courtroom that allows the podcasters in, YouTube podcasters specifically, and allows media in, but not to create a lot of distraction. And I think I give him kudos for that, because it's not an easy thing to do, especially while we watch all the other court cases where it's just so much noise in the courtroom you can't even hear. Let's see. Let me see what else anyone is saying. The only thing good about Wendy is her hair. 544 Camp Street says, this local tea is so helpful, Patty, and I really appreciate you covering the case when you're so close to the community. And I will be going to Miami. And I've only been married in Miami. We got married on the cruise ship leaving Miami. We stayed at the Fountain Blue, and that was like 22 years ago. So this is going to be a whole new thing for me. I will have to somehow drive by where the Bee Gees live, because I love Barry Gibb. And that'll be the old Middle Air Studio, because that's where they used to record, Middle Air Studio, which is closed down and sold, but I have to go. Yeah, the judge is awful. It is an awful situation, and you can't come back from that. I think once that's done, it's really hard to come back from. The society page, with the possibility of huge subs and money, there are plenty of channels that would be pro-Wendy. Yeah, there will be. There will. Tons. It's just not my bag. I just had some random commenter who started commenting on Markel videos, says Judy from AA Legal Focus, constantly saying Wendy is innocent and beautiful. Well, slow down, Patty. John Lauro is absolutely going to pay for bots. 100% the bots. And it's not like if I had bots here, I think there's a difference between, and Judy may know this better, there's a difference posting through StreamYard or YouTube Live versus directly YouTube Live. My posting directly to YouTube Live was trash. It was the bots, it was pure trash. Where if you go to StreamYard and then it syndicates to YouTube, I think it's very different. But John Lauro at $800, $900 an hour, probably more for trial time, obviously, will absolutely be paying for bots for Wendy Adelson. Wendy Jill is going to get the bots, and they're not going to be local. They're going to be whatever, but they're going to have local names. Like even in this Facebook group I run, we have bots, Aiken, South Carolina. Why are they putting that? Why all of a sudden do I have like 100 bots a day from Aiken, South Carolina? But that's what they're going to do. They're going to hide their location using VPNs, which is what's probably happening. Take the local, and they're just going to be. Just be aware of it. Just be aware that just because the trial gets closer, we're post July 22nd on the case management hearing, which is why I'm going to go the week after July 4th, so I'm back for the case management. It will absolutely be bots out the yin yang for Wendy Adelson. And Charlie. Charlie's innocent. Oh my God. He's so innocent. He's in the cold. He will be in the cold. Working the media. We read that. Working. So far, you've used dislike of personalities to proclaim a woman as guilty. I do. I think she is a horrible personality, Karen Reed. And I said, and I'll say it again, what I think does not matter. I've not watched every second of the trial. But the jury will find her guilty or innocent, and they were the ones sitting there. But I think she is not... If you're coaching your... I'm looking at it as if I were coaching a real estate agent. Or I'm coaching, I'll just take, because that's what I do is coach real estate agents. If I was sitting in a listing and I'm trying to get a $2 million listing and I have someone like Karen Reed making those faces while the jury is the homeowners present, I'm not getting that listing. You're not getting the listing. It is not helping you for her to sit there and be so damn animated. Calm down, lady. Calm down. You want to be innocent? You're innocent. Show it. We all know what that looks like and what it doesn't look like. And she does not. I wasn't there. I haven't watched all the video. I have no idea where the evidence was or the GPS or any of that. I've watched enough because I have to work. I work, and it's not disparaging people, but I have to work, unfortunately. I would love to sit and watch trials all the time. But she is not helping herself. And I guarantee you, if I had a listing agent who walked into a home, say it was dirty like Wendy's house, and it was, grout was bad and just dirty, just a dirty home. Like, and I'm just being honest with Wendy. Wendy, your house is dirty. If you want $5,000 a month, you got to clean that shit up. You do. But anyway, so I have my agent sitting here and I have the jury, which is the homeowner. God, if I had a girl sitting like that trying to get a $2 million, I'm not getting the listing. You're not getting the listing. You're not. It doesn't mean you're not honest. It doesn't mean you're not frustrated with some other aspect of the listing. But if you're going to sit there and be so animated in disgust at everyone that walks past you, it's not helping your cause with the jury. That's all. That's all I've said. And I mean it. I mean it for every listing appointment. I mean it for when you go buy a car. I mean it for everything in life. You can't sit there with pure disdain for your fellow humans. It's not going to help her. If she's innocent, fantastic. The jury will find her innocent, but it's not helping her looking like that. I'm not saying walk in like your Laura Ingalls, but I'm also not saying don't be just, your attorney can't keep his face shut. Your attorney is looking at everyone around you with disgust. Your own attorney. I like. True Crime says, Judge Hankinson yelled at me to take my sunglasses off my head in Franklin County Court. I've been warned but forgot. He was really a great judge. He was. They called him Hang'em Hankinson. Hang'em Hankinson. He's gone. Just sad. Massachusetts, I would love to. I would love to come to Massachusetts right about now because it's about 113 degrees. Yep. Yes. Rest in peace to the judge. Arrogance. I know. I don't understand the attorney's play in this case. The attorney's play where it comes with Karen Reed to be so demonstrative in your disgust. I don't know if they use, like Sonny was telling us about that jury consultant, said everyone on the jury hates police officers, so show pure disgust to every police officer that shows up. I don't know, because I haven't watched it from the start to finish. Let's see. Trash bomb. There is no one that blows more smoke up everyone's ass. It's Rashi. He really did. And I didn't know anything. Like, when I walked into that trial, it's just because I was absolutely curious about the process, the Dan Markel murder, because I remember the day, the fact that Catherine Magbanua had a mistrial. Like, I was just, what is really happening here? And I watched him walk up to all of these people. I'm like, who are these? I didn't know podcasters were in the room. I didn't know anything. And I was like, why is he stroking these people? Because I'm always a cynic. And that's what I saw. I'm like, he is stroking these people. Why is he stroking the gallery? And then I was like, are you a Charlie fan? And they're like, no. I'm like, why is he stroking? Why is he blowing smoke up your ass? It was weird. It was very, very weird. Karen Reed is from a family like the Adelsons. She gets connected and gets favored. Well, I don't know, but I wouldn't want my attorney making faces at people. I just don't see where it's I don't see where it's a plus on her. Is her trial going to be like another 6 months? Is it? Oh my goodness, Plant. 7:25 in the morning for you. Can't believe you're on. I can't believe you're on. Oh, well, thank you, AA. I mean, I'm getting some help from some sources down in Miami, so that'll be nice. They will use local names. The bots will definitely use local names. And it's going to be a lot. And I think you have to understand it. But paying for bots is not expensive. I mean, you can do it. I would hope that YouTube would shut it down, but I don't think they do. They only shut Americans down. That's who they shut down. Anita, I only have one way to make a metaphor, and it's sales. That is how I make a metaphor. If you don't like it, Anita, you don't have to listen to me. Or you can listen to me and just continue on. But that is the metaphor I use, and I don't apologize for it. The condo still has not been rented. I checked. I have it on an alert. I use Google Alert, so I did it that way. Hi, Patty. You have a good perspective. I love watching you. Something I've learned is verdict is guilty or not guilty. Innocent is not decided. And isn't that hard to understand? Innocence is not decided. It's crazy to me how much, since OJ, how much media is used on both sides of every trial. Yeah, damn, walking outside of that gym at Premiere, I don't think of anything else when I I don't go to Premiere. But when I drive by Premiere, that's exactly what I think of. Thank you, AA. I appreciate that. That is a really nice compliment. Let me go back. So I did want to update you. I do like, he does. Alan Jackson. It's hard for me to believe his name is Alan Jackson, but it is. Every time I think that, I'm like, Alan Jackson doesn't look anything like that. I'm reading. I'm sorry. So Gore Georgia says, watch the entire trial. I cannot watch the entire trial. I wish I could. Again, I just cannot. I absolutely cannot. I do not have the time for it. I don't. I have other things. Again, maybe, I know there's people who just do this. Like, I completely respect it. Like, I watch Judy all the time. I have very few podcasters I watch. I watch Jay. I watch Carl. I watch Judy. I watch True Lifestyles. I watch Katie, Cool Lady. I watch Fancy if she's on. Like, I watch Murder, and I watch the Society page. And it's not that I'm not watching, like, I'm not expanding. I just don't have the time. I just don't. We have 10 agents. I sold 4 homes this week. I sold 4 homes in 1 week. And I'm grateful for all of that, but I don't have the time. It's just, I gotta devote my time to my clients. Every day, every week, I think, oh my God, I could be on Tuesday, I could be on Thursday, and I could be on Sunday. And then I can't. It goes out of control, which I love. I mean, I'm very happy I'm busy, but that's it. So let me talk to you about, I wanted to share with you. So coming up in a little while it's going to be February, but is the Crystal Rogers case. So I finally figured out how to get if you need some assistance in getting rid of the ads on let me show you, on your screen so that you can actually read a document. It's called Reader Mode. Here it is. It's an extension for your Google. You can add it to your Chrome. You can see this little 3-bar thing right here. You activate it, you pin it to your toolbar on Chrome, and now I can actually go through a document. It took me a while to figure out which one wasn't going to be trash. You can read the document without ads. Life-changing. Absolute life-changing. So anyway, recently, if you follow Crystal Rogers, let me see, did I lose my whole... No, I didn't. Crystal Rogers case. Crystal Rogers, around the same time as Dan Markel, went missing. She was last seen by her live-in boyfriend, Brooks Houck, who is a huge landowner in Bardstown, Kentucky, which is Nelson County, which is a very small county. It's a county of 14, like Bardstown itself is 14,000 people. That is a small town. Far smaller than where I am in Tallahassee. So Crystal Rogers goes missing. Her mother, Sherry Ballard, is her last name. Ballard, is a wonderful person. My aunt, Jeannie, knows them personally. She lives on the street as some of the Ballards and as the grandfather. Sherry's father-in-law. And she just, we've always talked about the Crystal Rogers case, just like we always hear locally talk about Dan Markel. So recently, Brooks Houck has been under the former Attorney General for the state of Kentucky went to the FBI, much like our own county went to the FBI and said, hey, we need help. Pat Sanford comes in, brings the story to hopefully a soon close 10 years later. Well, now Crystal Rogers is getting some action in the Justice Department. They have been searching and searching and searching and searching Brooks Houck's many properties. He was not only a landlord of 50 or 60 homes, he also is a builder. So he'll build some homes, rent them out, sell some. And he does neighborhoods. And they're all red brick. They're very cute houses. I'm not going to disparage his ability to build a house. I am going to disparage his ability to just break up with a girl instead of killing her, burning her alive. Not killing her, probably shot her, burned her body in a pit. That's likely what happened. And some even think that she was fed to the pigs, which I'm just now learning. Pigs will eat everything, including your femur, which is incredible. Hey, John.
Hey there.
Hold on 1 second. I have one of our agents came in. I'm on YouTube. Do you want to be on YouTube, John?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Here's a check.
Thank you.
Always happy
Checks
to
are
see
good?
you, right?
Yeah, nice.
So,
Appreciate it.
talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Let me guess what
You
you're
know what
talking about.
Well, now it's Crystal Rogers. We were talking about Dan Markel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now it's Crystal Rogers.
All right.
Bardstown, Kentucky.
You're a
Be there,
bright girl. You
yeah.
cover the topic.
As many murders as I can.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
So John had documents off for a closing he had, which is great. He had the best review, which I'm going to post this week, by the way. So he had a great review. It was very nice. John Laney, he is associate broker here in our office. So Crystal Rogers goes missing. It's over July 4th weekend, and who knows what? It's just a mess. Her mother had to report her missing. Brooks' house has the kid. The kid's name is Elijah. And Brooks Houck never really had the child by himself. So when Sherry Ballard saw Brooks driving around town with just Elijah in the back of the car, she knew something was wrong. Crystal wasn't responding to her calls. Nobody was responding. It got worse and worse for Sherry. The panic set in. He's just an obnoxious human being with an obnoxious, dare I say, accent, which I love a Kentucky accent, but his is just kind of like this, just a long drawl, and you're an idiot, and he just knows you're an idiot, so he's going to talk to you like one. He's horrid. Anyway, last fall, he was arrested too. It was a great day. It was a great, great, great day. And the reason why he was arrested, because of his conversation with the police detective when he was in for questioning several days after Crystal was reported missing. They took him in and he answered some questions and took a call. He had some phone numbers that the police officer wasn't sure about. So he asked Brooks, what is this number? Who is this number? He goes, let's call him. So it was Steve Lawson. Steve Lawson worked for Brooks Houck. Steve Lawson was one of his construction foreman guy. Let's call him a foreman. So he had a son named Joseph, and Joseph was an addict. And Joseph was, I guess, the person who allegedly moved Crystal Rogers' car from the farm and took it down to the Bluegrass Parkway, which is colloquially is called the BG. So locally they call it the BG Bluegrass Parkway. It's a beautiful parkway. If you've ever driven it, it's gorgeous drive to get from Bardstown to Louisville. It's really beautiful. Or Mumfordville to Louisville. And finally, this conversation where Steve Lawson is calling Brooks Houck kind of turns where it sounded pre-planned. It sounded as if Steve Lawson was asking questions when Crystal should have been next to him and wasn't next to him, and actually she was already dead likely, and it was just convoluted, and the police detective in little old Nelson County didn't catch it. He didn't catch it at all. He kind of caught it. You could hear questioning. It's not interrogation. But the questioning where he kind of caught it, but they kind of moved on, and it went from there. And Brooks gets up and leaves because of his deputy sheriff brother calls him also on the phone and said, "Hey, dude, you should leave." Now, Brooks Houck's brother does get up and calls, and then he's fired from the sheriff's department. Brooks Houck is then free for like 10 years. Absolutely free, but chased. Like, FBI's looking at him, police, they're tossing concrete driveways. He pours the thickest concrete in a driveway I have ever seen. I mean, they tore apart 2-car driveway, and it was like, it filled a park. Like, it was a lot of concrete, which I think is what FBI was like, that's a really thick driveway. Maybe she's in there. She wasn't there. So it turns out Steve Lawson has a son named Joseph Lawson. They were following him. Shortly, a couple years after the murder takes place with Crystal Rogers, Joseph Lawson gets in a horrible motorcycle accident. He's now paralyzed from the chest down. He becomes a huge addict. And at some point last year, they bring Joseph Lawson in for questioning, and they arrest him as a conspirator. Remember this conspiracy thing. They arrest him on a conspiracy to commit murder and tamper with a dead body of Crystal Rogers. He looks, with the arrest photo, which I've shown before, and I don't have it prepared today. The arrest photo, he looks absolutely emaciated. He looks ridiculously emaciated. Now he looks like a healthy addict instead of like an emaciated addict. Still an addict, right? Still paralyzed. They put him in a hospital, like a jail hospital. They get him upright. They get him literally upright because they found him, from what I'm told, naked on the floor, like stoned out of his gourd. So that's all fixed. And now Joseph is the first one to be arrested. Shortly after, they arrest his father. Now, no one's thinking that Joseph turned on his father, but they're just they're now digging in the right spots. So Stephen Lawson, who worked for Brooks Houck, is now arrested. They're also investigating Stephen Lawson's previous wife, think Chad Daybell, whose wife died. She died real quickly. Possible suicide, but maybe not. She'd lost her brother, her father recently, so they think if she did commit suicide, it was because of that, but most people don't even believe it. So anyway, they're reinvestigating his deceased wife's murder. So that's done. A couple weeks later, I will never forget it as long as I live. There's Brooks Houck all over the news. Brooks Houck is now arrested for the murder, the conspiracy, moving the body, like 3 charges, just like Charlie Adel said. It was lush. It was super duper duper lush. And I felt so good for Sherry Ballard that finally, after 10 years, Dateline, all of these, like Oxygen, so many shows about Crystal Rogers, how she kept this woman's just thoughts alive, how she kept her children going and not seeing the grandson like Ruth Markel. Sherry Ballard was not allowed to see Elijah. Brooks pulled whatever visitation he would have given her, said that Sherry speaks badly of Brooke in front of Elijah, so the judge said, you can't see this child. He's like, how old is he now? It's been 10 years. So he's probably like 13 as well. So once Brooke Houck was arrested for the murder of Crystal Rogers, I believe Elijah is now with Brooks Houck's sister in South Carolina. I think that's where she lives, in South Carolina. So anyway, recently, there's been, that trial's not supposed to be till February 2025. No one actually believes it will be held in Nelson County. They intend to, which I think is a risk, they intend to try Steve Lawson, Joseph Lawson, and Brooks Houck all together. So they need a larger venue. So it wouldn't be in Nelson County anyway. That's smaller than the church I go to. It's very, very small. And so there's little hearings coming up. So Steve Lawson, along the way recently, wanted his charges dropped. Well, that's not happening. Then I guess they were trying to give Steve Lawson some immunity. And then they're like, no, you don't deserve immunity because you lied. And here's this story. So 2 days ago, 15 days after an interview with Steve Lawson, authorities, let me make this larger, were searching an area of Thompson Hill Road and Cox's Creek. So think of the most rural county in your state, and that's what Nelson County, Hart County is like. Very, very rural, very a lot of Amish, a lot of Mennonite, and a lot of meth. A lot of drugs in this area. Cox's Creek is beautiful, but it's full of drugs. 15 days after the interview with Steve Lawson, authorities were searching an area on Thompson Hill Road in Cox's Creek for evidence of Roger's death, Crystal. New court documents shed light on a previous search for evidence of the death. According to an investigative report on Friday, Steve Lawson, the father of Joseph, told Kentucky State Police, otherwise known here as KSP, detectives that his son, Joseph Lawson, and another man, Jeremy Thompson, were digging on a farm near Thompson Hill Road in Cox's Creek. Now, in this part of the country, a lot of roads are named after the people who reside on them, and Thompson was probably Thompson and a hill at some point. Lawson thinks they were burning and digging with the skid steer within 5 days of Crystal Rogers' 2015 disappearance over the 4th of July weekend. They're not sure if she died on the 3rd or the 4th. That's why they say that. He told police the two men were burning large amounts of wood in a hole at the request of David Thompson. David Thompson was Jeremy's father, and it says it's unclear the relation, but I looked it up. It was super simple. They just didn't have time, I guess, when they did this. Both Steve and Joseph Lawson have been charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. This is the first time the authorities have mentioned either Thompson in relation to Roger's death investigation. Neither man has been charged. Detectives said it was later brought to their attention that the skid steer was seen on that property on numerous occasions. So, side note, when Brooks Houck is being questioned by law enforcement, that police questioning before he gets up and walks out like a pussy, he says that Steve Lawson was in charge of his equipment. So, that's part of it. Steve Lawson was in charge. He maintained the equipment. Detectives said it was later brought to our attention the skid steer was seen on that property on numerous occasions. That interview took place November 21, 2023, and with 2 weeks of that interview, multiple law enforcement agencies were seen conducting a search for evidence on a property in that same area. The people who had lived there had died, so it was just an abandoned property. Special Prosecutor Shane Young told WHAS 11 authorities were searching for evidence in one of the 3 unsolved Bardstown murder cases, including Crystal Rogers' her father, Tommy Bowder, was shot and killed on a hunting trip. So a year after, 2015, Tommy Ballard, who's Sherry Ballard's husband, was shot. He was out hunting with a 7-year-old, nice to the Houcks brothers, and in the woods. And he got shot, dead. There might have been 2 bullets, but one hit a tree and the other one hit Tommy Ballard while the 7-year-old is standing there. People just don't care. And then the other was Jason Ellis. Jason Ellis was a Nelson County Bardstown police officer. And he was, that's what Brooks' brother was. He wasn't a sheriff. He was a county, Bardstown City police officer. Authorities never revealed if evidence was discovered at that location. They haven't revealed any evidence. I mean, there have been not one leak in this Brooks Houcks murder. Not one leak. Other than when Brooks Houcks was trying to go for a reduction in his $10 million bail, because that's what his bail is, $10 million. They pointed out, the prosecution pointed out that the mother, Brooks Houck's sister, and other people who were in before a grand jury had actually recorded the grand jury, which is supposed to stay, of course, how do they say? It's supposed to stay secret. Wasn't secret for them. So in court Thursday, Young argued Lawson broke his deal with police, claiming there were many inconsistencies in his story. Now, wouldn't that be nice if they did that to Wendy? Wouldn't that be nice if they came in to the courtroom and said, hey, judge, we need to revoke her immunity and we're arresting her? I think it would be fabulous. But then she would just plead the fifth. If you watch any of the Young Thug trial, which is out of Atlanta, you know you can't plead the fifth while you have immunity. Because that guy got arrested too. One of the witnesses got arrested for pleading the fifth with immunity and wouldn't talk, so they arrested him. The supplemental report comes after Steve Lawson appeared in Nelson County courtroom fighting others' charges to be dismissed. His attorney, Ted Levitt, claims Lawson was promised immunity on his cooperation with authorities. But if you're inconsistent, you're not entitled to immunity. These inconsistencies are mentioned in the new court documents. Stephen had denied that the skid steer, which was likely owned by Brooks Houck, had ever left the construction sites after Rogers' disappearance in a previous interview. Steve Lawson cannot explain the change after being questioned. He can't explain it because he doesn't want to explain it. Anyway, he's likely not going to have dismissed charges, but that's just that. This is Jeremy Lane Thompson that they're talking about. He cannot be tried because he passed away in 2022. That's the challenge with these 10-year-old cases. People die. You can't just let this go. He was preceded in death by his father. He is survived by 2 daughters. Word has it, he was in an accident or it was an accidental overdose, but he's gone. So that's my update on the Crystal Rogers case. Oh, let's go. Debbie's telling someone she can leave the door. It's not locked. It's true. I mean, nobody has to. It's true. Patty, I wish I had known you were on earlier. You're so cute and funny. Well, thank you very much. My hair is a wreck today, but I really appreciate the thought. 4 homes in 1 week. Oh, well, thank you. It's with a team. I mean, if I didn't have Scott and Erica, our assistant, I wouldn't be able to do it. Not anymore. It'd be one thing if I was doing it like 20 years ago, but we were very busy. And then I had this little cold, so you got to take care of yourself. Anita, why so intense about someone you don't know? That's what I don't understand. Like, I make fun of Wendy Adelson. I make fun of her because she's easily made fun of. She has absolutely deserved to be arrested for the murder of her husband. She didn't want to be the only parent. She wanted to be the only parent, not the favorite parent. So I'll follow the evidence that I want to follow on a channel that I started. I mean, I just don't have time. It sounds trite. I hate saying I'm busy. I hate it. I hate it. But I only have so much time in a day. But what I don't understand is the intensity that people feel about Karen Reed or really I enjoy courtroom. I hate saying it. I really do. If you could be a pager, I would step up. I would do it as volunteer. Let me be a judge. I'm good at being a judge. I think I'm fabulous at it. But I don't understand the intensity that people get in social media. I don't. And Anita, I have to tell you, I'm going to say it like I told the priest I was going to say, you're quite intense for somebody. It's not your family. A lady's life is on the line. It's up to the jury, and I'm not a bot. I'm not going to say, but I will say, because I live locally to Tallahassee, I do know people who are affected by the Dan Markel murder. Specifically, I am a person who's well known in town, and I will say I believe the woman is guilty, but I know enough about it to say that. What I'm saying about Karen Reed is she sure does make herself look it, because she won't shut her face up. That's that. You rented relying on a screenshot. It was nothing like reality. Oh my, Chris. Oh my. The society page saw me on STS during Chuckle's trial. Thank you. I mean, it was a mess, but thank you very much. I got locked in a church basement. It was a lot. I felt bad for the guy who was supposed to be on the radio show with the church. I felt bad for me because I'm locked in a church basement. Like, I felt bad about the whole thing. I'm so going to have to keep rewatching this Chrome thing for a few times. Okay, let me show you again. You go to Chrome extensions. Let me show you. Because I think this is a really good get for people. It's a really good tip. So you Google Chrome extensions. You click on the Chrome Web Store. You search Reader Mode. and it'll tell you, this is the one I want. Some of these are not good. So you got to be careful what you add to your Google Chrome, okay? Remember, I have a little, by the way, I got my little cybersecurity forensics certificate, which I'm now certified forensics. So I mean this with all due everything. Reader extension is right here. So you add it, but once you add it, you have to go back to your extensions right here, the ones that you have, and you have to activate it. And then you want to pin it here. So you click on this little button, and it says your extensions, and you have to pin it right here. And that way you have reader mode. So I can go on, let's see, let's go to the Tallahassee Democrat today. Tallahassee Democrat, full of ads. Full of ads. But I'm going to click on my reader mode. Did it do it? And it's going to, no, it hasn't done it. I think it has to redo it. Now it goes. It's going to give me my life without the ads, which is the only way I could get through this. Because when I was on this, it was just pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up. And I don't want to have to be like giving credit. I don't want to have to do anything. You can see this is Joseph Garcia from WHAS. I don't want to have to be like trying to cite people and do all that. It's too much work. So it really was helpful. Reader mode on Chrome. It is hard to have to do YouTube when you're working. And I think people, there are some people like Jay. I'll go back to Jay. I don't know if Society Page has a regular 9-to-5 job or not. But there's people like Jay. I mean, he was like, you know what? I'm going to do this full time and I'm going to do it right. And he does. And he does it great. The other one is the 13th juror, Brandy Churchwell. I mean, she is good. She was marketing before. She's good at marketing herself. I'm not. I love selling houses, so that's what I like to do. And I just can't. You can't do everything. You can't take care of my dog, take care of my husband, who I love. It's just me and him now. You can't do all of that. So I think as the fall goes on, I'll have more time. I'm training Erica to be my assistant. It's just time consuming to do all of that. Byron says, Anita's opinion is no more valid than anyone else. Anita, I invite you to Tallahassee, Living Tallahassee Complaints Only, because there you can bash me all you want. It's great. Thank you. 4 sales in a week. And it's been nice. I mean, it's nice to write those contracts. It's nice to see them close, because it hasn't been an easy year. I'll say that. It is. The Crystal Rogers case, I think Carl said he was going to start covering it. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I have an in with Sherry Ballard, but I don't know if I have the nuts to call her and say, would you come on? Yes. Brooks Houck did hook up. They're like life partners with another woman named Crystal, who actually was arrested for pulling up where is Crystal Rogers signs out of the ground. She's a mess. Like that girl, you go through life and you're like, it's like Charlie's girlfriend, like Bree. Do you feel sorry for them? Do you feel sorry for these girls who just cannot think for themselves beyond these men? It is that case, Georgia. It is. But I think Rosemary Ballard. Rosemary Ballard is Brooks Houck's mother. And I know this family, like, in and out. I did a family tree on them. I'm really good at this. I'm good at this one. So Rosemary Ballard is a distant cousin of Tommy Ballard. So that's why they have the same name. Like my maiden name is Johnson. And my grandfather was born in Nelson County. And in New Haven is the town, so it's an even smaller little town than Bardstown. But New Haven is a tiny, tiny little town, and our family owned the bar at the train stations. They were very prolific. There's tons of Johnsons, but we're all so spread out now because we're Catholic. It's a very Catholic county. So everyone had like 10 or 12 brothers and sisters. Like everyone was breeding really rapidly because a lot of people died. So you had to like replicate the species. That's all I can think of. Anytime I go to the cemeteries up there, when I do, which is try to go at least twice a year, it's like Johnson, 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 Johnson. Sylvester, Hardin, like all these names replicate themselves, but we're just cousins. It's funny. I'm only paying to not the defense. I'm with you, murder. In the end, the man has died. John O'Keefe has died. And I think people forget that. And yes, he was a police officer, but if you want to go live in a county or a city that doesn't have very good police officers or any police officers right now, let me know. I'll follow you and see what happens to you shortly after. This is the same way we treated Wendy's supporters because sporting an accused is disrespect to the family. It is. It is disrespect to the family. That man, John O'Keefe, is dead. Chud Daybell killed his wife. He murdered those 2 children. If somebody wants to sit here with me and tell me that Chud Daybell deserves a new trial or deserves not to be hung or shot at, in like Utah, what do they give him, the firing squad? I will laugh you out. Let's see. Stephen Lawson has been testifying for the grand jury since late 2015, a few times his last time he roasted in the arrested books. I do believe he has, but I do also believe he is inconsistent. And that's where I don't know. I go back and forth on this immunity thing. It's just like Wendy's. Because Steve Lawson, it's use immunity. Is it too soon to try and pull Steve Lawson's immunity? Is it too soon? Because Wendy just keeps burying herself. I mean, we don't... Can tell Patty, his realtor, made this place so fun. Thank you. Do you like Scott's artwork behind me that he bought to stage? Her case is very sad. And if you ever see... I just see so many coincidences between Ruth Markel and Sherry Ballard. Sherry Ballard, though, man, she is a beast. She's a beast. She actually, Brooks arrested, and then a few months later, she files a wrongful death suit. So she must have had discussions with the prosecution, but she filed a wrongful death suit on behalf of Crystal Ballard's other children. And their loss of income, and the loss of affection, and the loss of being a mom. I was like, you go, lady. Let's see what else. Well, I mean, how? Okay, let's go back to Adelsons. They have to be talking. They have to be talking amongst themselves. I have sources, as I've stated. Those boys are very close. They are seen together all the time. One is rarely seen without the other. They are seen in public alone. They are alone without their mother, is what I mean. They're of age where they can walk and go someplace, especially where they live out in Miami Beach. It's not like as dangerous as it would be if they were like here in downtown Tallahassee, which is per capita has more crime than Miami, to be honest with you. So they are alone. They are in public. They do go on trips together. There is absolutely no way they're not talking to each other about what's going on in their life. I mean, we all know. We were all teens. Like, I used to plot running away. I never left. I never ran away. But I used to plot, like, my mother's not going to tell me I can't go somewhere. I'm running away in my head. You tell your sibling, we should run away. We should run away. You never run away, but we did. We talked about it all the time. Like, we're out of here. We're not listening to them. And then, like, where the hell we got to go? We're not going anywhere. There's no way those boys are not discussing their grandmother being in jail. Or that their mother had something to do with it. They are not alone with Wendy all the time. I have proof of that. I can't post it. A, promised. B, it's no one's, I don't want to disparage those boys' privacy. It's just not happening. But they are not always with their mother. Where they go is no one's business. But they're not always with their mother. And that being said, there's just no way. It's just like somebody mentioned Princess Catherine. And I'm going to use another metaphor, Anita. And I'm looking at her verbiage. And I'm going to use a metaphor. Princess Catherine, before she told the world she had cancer, she had to come to grips with telling her own children. Because she was going to be sick. She didn't want the children to be like, what's going on with mom? But she needed time to have the verbiage to tell her children that she was sick. When you don't have someone to fill in the blanks, you fill in your own. That's just human nature. So if you don't, it creates anxiety. So if likely Wendy is not explaining to her children the truth, because we all know what the truth is, 3 trials later and 1 coming up, the boys are going to fill in their questions on their own and maybe talk about it to their peers. We don't know. But there's just no way that they don't speak about this. There's no way for Wendy to have blindly covered up their ears for 10 years without them going. They may not tell mom, hey mom, what the hell's going on here? But that doesn't mean they're not thinking it at night alone. And seeing Harvey all by himself. And then what's up with her? Okay, she's supposed to rent. A Legal Focus brings up the place is still for rent. She's going to go move to Austin a month and a half before mommy goes on trial for her husband's murder? What is that about? Isn't that odd that she is going to, I mean, the timing of it is odd, right? That she's going to be moved. I saw it on the Reddit. I was like, that's true. She's going to literally move 6 weeks before her mother's jury selection. She's going to move the boys to Austin without any family, high school, all of that stuff going on with boys. Friends, sports, who knows? Music, they could be playing the violin for all I know. I have no idea. But all of that, and then your kid is like, mom has to go testify before grandma's trial. Like, it just seems very odd to me. It's true. Oh, me being under the weather has nothing to do with it. Thank you. Why the intensity? I really do. It is, I think, speaking to my priest, and it's about my own personal life with the people from my own community here who have an opinion or whatever type of opinion of me. And I was like, God, it's so intense. And he's like, Patty, that's the word, intense. He goes, it's crass and intense. And if people cannot be not crass, I mean, you have to address it. You can't just let somebody come in your face, literally in my physical face, and call me names without either looking at them. Like, my first go-to is, you look like a moron, but I try not to. I try to be, compassionate. I try to be compassionate, but it's that whole, why so intense over people that, this is a Facebook post, or this is a YouTube post. In the end of the day, the feed changes. The algorithm is going to change, and it's not going to be important anymore. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't have COVID. I did check. Because I do have to go out to people. I didn't want that. Let me see. Anything else? Patty's Playhouse. I'll follow the evidence I want to follow. I mean, it's true. Like, I don't have... If I... Look, some of these trials, like Young Thug, that's been going on for like 3 months. Who has time to sit there? I don't... I mean, I would love to. Like, if you were going to pay me, if y'all were going to chip in and be like, hey, Patty, we want your commentary to go watch Young Thug, I'm at it. I can get people to write a contract for me, but I just can't. I can't. Oh, you don't? Well, here's an important question. The 2 is asking, is sausage gravy made from sausages? Yes. So, if you don't know, our breakfast sausage is like I buy a sage sausage. So it has sage in it. So it's peppery. And you can buy regular sausage and add a tiny pinch. Sage goes a long way. So a tiny pinch of sage to it. And then tons of pepper. So you fry it up and then you make a roux with the fat to add the gravy. It's delicious. I don't do grits. The most upset I've been is when the NZ guy, I think you mean the New Zealand guy, was literally lying about Jeff Lacoste. I have 2 strikes on my channel from that. They ended 9 days. I just don't, I think what someone said before is there's going to be a lot of money tossed at podcasters going back to Wendy or even Brooks Houck or Crystal or whatever who are pro that side. And I think sometimes, you know, obviously people are passionate about Karen Reed in this little channel. But what if people are paid to be passionate? You know, it's, you know, if you're taking in YouTube and you have a channel, AA Legal Focus knows, and Society Page Murder by Maestro knows, you have to check if you have a paid endorsement. Like today, we were invited to go to a Korean barbecue. And it's because I have a following, and that it's fine. And they were like, we'll pay you for a post. I'm like, sure. And we'll buy your dinner. Well, buy my dinner. It's great, but I'm still going to tell the truth. If not, I won't take your money. Because I'm not going to lie and have people go to this restaurant and it be a shit restaurant. I'm just not having it. Not my name. It's bad enough that I'm me in this town and what I say comes back to haunt me. So I got to be really clear and be very honest. So I was like, sure, I'll take the money for the post. It's $50. I wasn't going to. Some people charge. Do you know what people charge for that stuff? Like $2,500. Like, I'm charging people $2,500. So I'm just not good about it yet. Maybe I'll grow up and I'll be better about it. But anyway, they paid for dinner, my drink. I had a beer, Kirin Ichiban. Delicious beer, by the way. It's Japanese. And I was like, but I'm going to be honest. I would not have taken that check if I wasn't going to be honest. But on YouTube, you have to check paid endorsement. On Facebook, you have to check paid endorsement. You can't just say things and not disclose that you're paid. Bots don't have to worry about that. Bots can just come on here and they're like, they're paid to say whatever you want. They don't care. They don't care. They're bot farms that do just that. So, and I think they rile up the intensity. They change the algorithm. They change the feed. Remember, I have a little science behind me on the cyber. And it just is what drives that, dare I say, incitement up. Inciting fear, inciting murder, or you're accusatory, or whatever all those extreme, intense words are. I'm like, good God. If you want to pay to do that, go get, but disclosure being paid. But I guarantee you, John Laura, come on. He'd be foolish not to. Pay for bots on behalf of Wendy Adelson. There is that. It was a terrible accident. I guess everyone forgot. There is sausage in the white gravy. It's a southern thing. And it's never made it yourself. It's very rich. Well, I think it depends on how you make it. But I love it. I could eat sausage gravy over scrambled eggs all day. All day. Oh, well, good for you, Miss Wee. That reader mode, I've had others, but then they go away, and And Google Chrome removes them, so you got to look for more. So reader mode is the extension on your Google Chrome. Mother's Day in Canada is in May? Oh, I thought it was... Oh, maybe I'm thinking Thanksgiving, because your Thanksgiving is in October. I apologize, Sioux City Sue. You know, my best friend in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I call her that, Sioux City Sue. Her hair is blonde, her eyes are blue. Oh, Sioux City Sue. I work a lot on video and photo jobs. I don't make money from YouTube. Not enough to talk about it, yeah. But I wish I could do what you do. I really do. I wish I did video. I wish I could have the patience for it. I have a photography course right now. My next society page. My next project is 40 selfies. Now, come on. Why? I have straight A's, but I honestly might take the B or D. Watch Brandy. She says Kara is not guilty, which is pretty funny right now. I have seen her stuff I follow her on Twitter, and I've seen that she says it. Breakfast sausage, not Italian. Yeah, you don't want Italian sausage for your breakfast. That's not... Well, thank you. I'll be the judge. Anybody calls himself, or herself, I'll be the judge. It's very nice. It is important not to forget the building. I mean, it's just like if my dad died in 2021. My mom died in 2020. The aftermath, even when your parents are elderly, there is a trail of trash that gets left behind when anyone dies, let alone a murder where a young person's been ripped out of your family, and the children and the money and the finances, and maybe having a will, maybe not having a will. It is the house. Remember, that's how I found the permit that said they were living at 100 South Point Drive in Miami. Wendy. So be careful, Wendy, what you lie about, because it's all a paper trail. I do advocate for the victims. I do. I definitely add. Murder is sad for everyone. I've lost a cousin to murder. He was killed by friends. Both families suffered. Now that's different than the entire family plotting to murder like the innocents. But murder is murder. I mean, it is more, I think it's more horrific when it's like Ruth Markel sitting at dinner across from Donna Adelson, knowing that Donna would rather have your son killed than ever have dinner with you again. Think about that. Yep, source is close to the palace. I might have to start that. I think I'm going to start saying that, Claire. Good one. No, well, thank you, the society page. It's just not worth it. It really is hard. It's hard for me, but I have to be like, Patty, in the end, these people who like you today, everyone could just not like me tomorrow. I mean, I would hope that doesn't happen, but it's just like Kim Kardashian. I'm going to use another metaphor. That poor child of God doesn't know when to quit. Seinfeld, he goes through 8 seasons. They offer him another $100 million, and he says, no, I'm not going to take your $100 million. Now is the time for me to quit. Kim Kardashian should see that side of show business. Sometimes it's just, you stop. Because people are going to turn on you. My Bee Gees are a great example of that. They had the 70s, 60s, and 70s. I mean, they had it down. And then all of a sudden, disco. I hate disco. So, it changes. The algorithm changes. What you see in your feed will change. I do not believe they are. I believe Mike Williams' daughter was brainwashed by her very evil mother. I mean, that woman is just... she's a lot. Mike Williams was the property appraiser here, was missing for years. Tim Jansen worked out a deal with her ex-husband, Brian Winchester. He testified in Mike Williams' ex-wife's trial, and she's going to jail for like 30 years. I think her life sentence was overturned, but the rest she's going to jail for. Rabbit says, I just adore that you're an example of earning the right to not give a crud about every little thing. I'm your age, and I think it just got to the point that true life is too short. Well, do you follow other people on Facebook? I know not everyone is on Facebook, but there's a girl named Lori Conway, and her shtick is Crazy Busy Mama, which I have to honestly say, her videos drove me insane. When she would be, I think she sped up the verbiage. It's like, Crazy Busy Mama, Crazy Busy Mama. I'm like, oh, you're not my person. Like, I can't watch you. But I think over a period of time, she had some great recipes, and I just got past the Crazy Busy Mama. But her husband just died in April. And her husband, literally, she believes he had long COVID. He was laying next to her in the bed, and he just died. Electrically, he didn't have a heart attack. His electrical system turned off, and his heart stopped. And he's only 41 years old. And so she's been very vocal about losing her husband who was next to her in bed. And she and her daughter had to share CPR while her two younger ones watched and screamed and cried for 35 minutes. Traumatic for anybody, but it's very traumatic. But she is like, life is but a vapor. Like, it's just the ice cube in your hand and then it's gone. You can't bring back the ice. That ice will never be the same. You can refreeze the water, but the ice, the molecules, nothing is the same. And I think that's where I think people get so involved in social media, which it helps my business. I've gotten home sales from this channel. So it definitely has helped my business to be on here. It has helped Scott's business to be on here. The whole thing. However, I'm not going to sell my thoughts. I'm not going to sell my opinion. There are people who want to do that. Have at it. It just won't be me. It just won't be me. Right? Thank you. She's uprooting. Wendy Adelson, the point of the story. She's uprooting the Markel boys right before their 10th and 8th grade years. I thought, stupidly, that if I waited till my children were older, I could divorce their father and they would take it better. That is not true. Not true. I should have divorced him younger. I'm not saying not to divorce him. I would have divorced him either way. But waiting longer really, really, I think, affected them more. My children. I can't speak for anybody else's. But I think the big move from Pennsylvania to Florida, a year later, divorcing their father. We tried it down here. It just didn't work. A year later, then divorcing him and eventually him moving back, they were the same age. And it was traumatic for my kids. My daughter didn't speak to me for an entire year. So I think there's a lot going on inside the Markel boys' bedroom and life that Wendy has no control over. And the mother, I think Donna is the one who did take care of those boys. She did not. And I think she thinks moving will help that. I do not think it will help that. Having lived it, having not murdered my ex-husband, but having transported children across the country away from what they knew to try and have, in my case, a better marriage, which of course it was a fiasco, didn't happen. And then you divorce them and they're like, I think my daughter was 14. It was just a mess. And I had to suffer the consequences of that. And I still, I'm very humble about it now, but I had to suffer the consequences of that. She talked to me for a year. So if we think like those boys are like a flim flam, mom is so wonderful, mom is so, I don't think so. I do not. First of all, you're going to have rebellion at 13 and 14 anyway. That's just nature. And then you are like, all of their their favorite uncle, like him or not, that was their uncle, incarcerated for life all the way to South Dakota. Can't go visit. Then you got grandma. Nana's gone. Nana's now incarcerated in Leon County. All of these people think mama had something to do with it. So if we think for 1 second those boys aren't discussing this with their peers or with each other, we're sadly mistaken. Absolutely. No. I think it's 100% they do discuss it. I think it's 100% that the boys are 13 and 14. They're like, why are you moving us? And I do not believe that they're going willingly. Leaving the water? Leaving the ocean? For Austin? Come on. It's just ridiculous. But she's doing it. I don't know what this is about. Well, thank you, Donna. I really try. I am straight up. Sage is very good and sage is awesome, but do not add a lot of sage. Like if you don't buy, like Jimmy Dean makes a great sage sausage, or like our Fresh Market sells breakfast sausage that has sage in it. Don't want the maple sausage because that makes a disgusting sausage gravy. Have plain and add a lot of pepper. But don't go and add a tablespoon of sage because you'll throw up. It's not good. She does have supporters. And she's always going to have supporters. She's a human being. I mean, look at her realtor. Even if she takes crappy photos, there's a picture of her realtor all but going arm in arm down the waterline. I mean, I already shared that. Oh my God, I can't even talk to you anymore, lady. Anita's just off the... I'm sorry, I never said you're pro Wendy. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not even going to engage with you anymore. I apologize for others. Totally agree. I'll be the judge. We learned from the Depp Heard trial that paid bots from companies like Bot Centennial are very active and high profile. They have to be. Those freaking... Sunny went to CrimeCon. She heard that lady, even with Casey Anthony. She heard that lady who was Casey Anthony's jury consultant. Absolutely this is happening. But do people think that you're not being paid to post, even though I admit it, you're paying posts, you're paying per post. For the same restaurant here in town that offered me whatever, in Atlanta, they pay $400 and $500 for a post. Some people may not care about the ethics of it. Some people do. I don't know. Because I'm not them. I don't know what their intentions are behind the scenes. But to think that a restaurant is paying posts, which is cheap advertising in the end, a lot cheaper than a billboard, why would the bots not be coming out for trial watchers? Of course they are. It's ludicrous to think the opposite of it. I'm telling you, go through Living Tallahassee, the locales of all the members, and you are going to see a ton in Aiken, South Carolina. Why? The more I eliminate, the more they add. There's just no reason to have Aiken, South Carolina in a Living Tallahassee unless you're trying to persuade people one way or the other. And they come in, they start arguments, and then I kick them out. But you can watch it happen. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to go like that. Poor Harvey, my ass, Byron. He's involved in Dan's murder. To whatever level of involvement Harvey has, I don't know the entire level. I admit it. However, he drove Donna to Charlie's house to drop off the money to pay the hit crew. That alone should bring a charge. Shouldn't it? Shouldn't driving Donna to the house off of the turnpike to drop off the money to pay the hit crew the next day? I don't know. I'm not Judy. I'm not an attorney. But shouldn't that take a charge? Once they prove that? WhatsApp is 100% hackable. And to say that it isn't is also naive. Wendy walks around like it's an end-to-end encryption. It's not anymore. As long as you have the Ikistan countries, the Uzbekistan, the whatever Ikistans, where all those cyber terrorists are that have no extradition to the United States, they can just hack and hack and hack. So to think that, and they're brilliant. They're more brilliant than I will ever be, or any 12-year-old that currently hacks here in the United States. They are absolutely hacking WhatsApp. And the government is doing it too. They arrest these people. They learn what they do. They set them free to go do it again. Everyone, here's an idea. You want to think none of this happens? Go on to, if you listen to podcasts or Audible or Apple Podcasts, Darknet Diaries. It will change your life. It will change your life to think what is happening around you that is all a facade. That you think it's one thing, but it's really another. It's a facade. Darknet Diaries, absolutely fascinating. I do listen to that on the regular. Emily D. Baker, Melanie Little, Patty, take a look. Really is shocking what the prosecution is presenting. I think so too. Allegedly. I'm not an attorney. Maybe Ben and Lincoln see their mom for who she is. I almost think it's maybe worse in my opinion. Did you see your mom for who she was when you were 13 and 14? Or did you see your mom for being a B? Like, who wouldn't let you go do... Well, I'm in 57, so it's very different. I wasn't allowed to date till I was 18. I lived in a very strict Catholic household. Everything was very strict. Which in the end worked out for me. But it was very strict at the time. And I thought my mom was the worst person that ever walked the face of the earth when I was 13 and 14. I was like, why are you talking to me like this? Who are you? Because I thought I was 14. Why are you talking to me like this when I'm 14? Why do I have to do the dishes? You got 3 younger ones. Make them go do it, right? But it's not how it is. I don't think that for one second. I think they see their mother for a woman who's trying to catch a grip on her kids, because I think Donna was the disciplinarian. I think Donna was the mother. So I don't think they see it. I wish they saw her for who she was, but I don't think so. Well, thank you. Thank you. Oh, you don't have a Fresh Market? Yeah, Fresh Market's nice. Very nice. The boys will be picking up on things for years to come. I mean, how many Lifetime movies have we all watched? That's the very same thing. You're like... Or, another fun thing. Go to Ancestry DNA Facebook groups, where all these people find out their daddy ain't their daddy. I was talking about that earlier today. Absolutely just mind-blowing. The facade... there's probably something going on in the house where you think things aren't right. Dad didn't like you. You didn't really look like him, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you're like, let me go take my DNA and post it for the world to see. And then you see the world and daddy ain't your daddy. And now your parents could be dead or not dead. Someday, it will all come out for these boys. And someday, even with Mike Williams' daughter, Ansley, her name's Ansley. It will come out for Ansley. It's just not today. Sorry, Debbie. I didn't mean for things to go like that. I apologize. I did not. Yeah, Yelp was full of paid posts. That's exactly what it is. See, I don't know. I just don't understand. Wendy is a bad daughter. How do you, I get my head tongue-tied. Hey, Georgia, asking Wendy, how do you spell gibbers? I don't know. Check your damn phone, Wendy. It's in there. She thinks she's too slick for words that people don't know. You call Dan Markel gibbers. You know how gibbers is spelled because you put him in a contact in your phone and be like, oh, I'm sorry. Crazy. Crazy lady. Probably. Harvey drove Donna with the money. I do not bend with the wind is strong. I might go home and cuddle with my husband when the wind is strong and be like, Chris, the wind is really strong out there. I might have to go away for a couple days, go into hiding. But no, it's overall really good. And I think I have a lot of locally, real friends that I can talk to about these things that may or may not understand, but understand what confrontive behavior is and maybe how to respond to it. I think my husband gets more upset about the confrontive behavior than I will ever get upset about. That's why I don't take him to a lot of events where I think people could be that could verbally bash me because he would not respond well in such a situation. It would be very hard for him to respond well. Oh, I'm not crying. Thank you very much for that. I have a cold. I have just your normal, average summer cold. I am not crying. I'm sniffling. Like, remember Brady Bunch? I'm doing all these metaphors. The sniffles. I have the sniffles. I would have been embarrassed. You cannot imagine that her boys were not embarrassed by that dress. Of course they were. Unfortunately, psychological warfare is very effective and active in our world today. Russia versus Ukraine. Two pans in the same pot. I mean, you can't run a country like what's-his-face is running the Ukraine and Putin's running Russia and not be like, look, you both need to be relieved of duty. But here we are, paying for it all. Your mom was the same for the first 27 years of life and only changed when you got pregnant and she became the mom I should have had all those years. But was a great nan. That's what I get. That's what I get, Debbie. I'm a fabulous grandmother. But I don't know. Being a mom was odd for me. Like my son today, James, who you've all met on here, said, Mom, you were really, really hard on us. You were really hard on us. And I was. I was very strict. But it made him understand that the world is not going to just kowtow to you. The world isn't going to be Rash Bomb coming up to these podcasters going, you're fabulous. You're fabulous. You're so fabulous. The world isn't like that. The world is intense. People do have emotions. And nowadays, I think a friend said recently on text, I won't call her out, but it was she said, let's see. Said something about people reacting, they're only reacting in their feelings, not in logic. And I'm like, that is pretty much true. Very, very true. Someone sent me a text, I'm sorry. Why is he sending me this to me? Oh, I know that. Darknet Diaries. It's a fabulous podcast, a true audio podcast. If you like cyber anything or like spies, that kind of stuff, it's a great podcast. They bring up people who actually experienced or were the criminals who got caught hacking and then come out. But you learn a lot about what is real and what isn't real on the internet. And generally, none of this is real. None of it. None of it is real. There are people that will join your podcast, thousands join at one time, then they leave. They start an argument, then they leave. They come back. It's just insane. I think he does, Anne-Marie, what Harvey does every day is what every 83-year-old man does every day, or however old he is. He tries to take a piss without having to urinate 25 times a day. He walks around, watches Jeopardy. He's no longer watching Wheel of Fortune because it's, Pat Sajak's gone. But I think he's doing exactly what every other man is doing, ignoring the fact that his wife is in prison. He's walking around Whole Foods like nothing happened. I would just not leave my house. I would honestly have to move out of Miami. I would move out of Miami. I would be like, I gotta go where no one knows my name. It would just absolutely drive me crazy. What? Jane's World 2, 23 minutes. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Yes. Shout out my Juneteenth fireworks video coming out 8 p.m. tonight. Absolutely, you can. Of course. Things like that. I love when people shout out what they're doing. I know people have been like, don't do that. But I think it's wonderful. I don't see it, but I think it's wonderful. 8 o'clock, Juneteenth. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. As far as Harvey's concerned, I think he's just trying to take one piss a night and going back to sleep. I think he's completely oblivious, just like the rest of his damn family, about the absolute torture that they're putting people through by the loss of Dan Markel. Can I get a shout out, Ray, my Juneteenth fireworks video coming out at 8 p.m. tonight? Yes, you may. You may. So I'm going to go because I think I have a fever again. I am hot as hell sitting here. I mean, you know how you're fine and then you get a fever and then you're like, ugh. I think got a fever, so I'm going to go home. I believe if she's going to Austin, Texas, it has to do something with University of Texas. There's no way it isn't the University of Texas. Oh, yeah, a lot of podcasts you get in trouble for mentioning other podcasters. No, you won't get in trouble here. It would be ludicrous of me to think there aren't other podcasts out there. In fact, I mentioned them. Carl, Murder by Maestro, The Society Page, Katie Kool-Lady, Fancy Fiction. The people who are so generous to me, I would never not be generous to them. It just doesn't make sense. Why would anyone hire her? Because they didn't check her social media? I mean, she must know somebody. She has to know somebody. Oh, I'm so sorry. She has to know somebody who's working there. But that's the only way. They could not have gone to FSU for a reference. Could not have done it. I know people at FSU Law School. There is no way she got a reference from FSU Law School unless it was form filler outer type of reference. No way. No way. What are you saying? Right, and I agree with Patty. It's just me. This is one just fireworks for 23 minutes. It's Juneteenth put on by the airport. I think that's wonderful. I'm happy. I want to support other people because I know how hard it is. And I had that opportunity. I helped Carl. I answered some real estate questions for Carl Steinbeck. Helped him out a tiny bit. I'm not licensed in the state he was in. So I can only, in the overarching, help the guy out. I helped him for that. And then I shared with him some of the things I was doing on the real estate. He always mentions me. Always. I think it's very nice. Judy from AA Legal Focus constantly has other people reading, which is, if you haven't watched her, you got to, because she's absolutely hilarious. She has True Lifestyles on. She's had Katie Kool-Lady on. She's had Joel from STS on. All of these people. I don't think you could be... I don't know how the other trials do it. I don't think you could be in the Markel field, the Markel interest pool, without bumping into each other. You got to be nice. And I really do appreciate them. It's honestly, I don't want to sound like Rash Bomb blowing smoke. You're so good. They teach me so much. I have a problem with interruptions. So I watch Judy talk to people. A lot of times it's recorded, but I watch her converse with the people who are on her videos with her, and I watch her timing. It teaches me. So no, anytime somebody has a special event they want to blast on here, blast it. Society says he tries to promote other channels. I know. I agree. I think it's silly not to, because I want you to do well. YouTube is full of information that I roundly steal, especially with photography, because that's what it's there for. I don't know what settings to use for this camera. I roundly steal and thank and subscribe and share all of the photographers who create such amazing videos in photography and how to be a photographer. But I roundly thank them too, right? I roundly thank them. And I think that's half of it, is like being thanked. I've invited other podcasters, not as well known in our little circle here as the Markel, to be on, and they're like, no, we don't go on other people's podcasts. I was like, okay. I'm not offended by it. They just don't. But Judy, first of all, she's on here almost every Sunday. I really appreciate her. She talks to people when I can't, so she's engaging without even me knowing it. She's answering questions. I always thank that. And to have Murder, I look up to these people. To have Murder by Maestro or the Society page or Fancy even respond, I really do look up to you. I just think is absolutely amazing. So that's just me. Well, I'd love to have you on mine. I would love to have you on mine. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I think that people are so consistent with all of these podcasts. And they spend so much of your valuable, remember Lori Conway, life is but a vapor. Any time that you spend with me, I just cherish it. I think it's absolutely amazing. So, I must go now because I really am burning up. I'm gonna go take some Tylenol because I'm like pouring sweat right this minute. So thank you all so much. Have a great Sunday. I'm gonna try and be on Tuesday. It's a crapshoot right now, but thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm always grateful and I do. I love it. I love the opportunity to talk to this little camera and share any moments with you. I thank everybody so much. Bye-bye.